Hey fish friends, quick little video here. It's a little bit different than what I normally share. Usually I'm showing display tanks, African cichlids, planet tanks, etc. But today I thought I'd take you down into my basement and talk briefly about kind of preparedness and filtration. So what you see here, I'm actually down in the basement in the fish room that I'm building. Currently have a handful of tanks and picking up some more next week. But this here is an albino peacock, as you can see. His fins are not in the greatest condition. They're actually coming back pretty nicely compared to where they were. And he's been a little bit stunted. He was in the main tank and would always be hiding, would get beat up quite a bit, and had some pretty significant fin damage. So I brought him down here and set him up, and he's actually been doing very well. Seems to be very happy. He's actually getting to the point now where he pretty much will eat out of my hand. If I walk up to the tank, I'll feed him some pellets, and he'll swim right up to the corner and take them right from where my fingers drop. But anyway, this is just a little solitary tank for him at this point. I'll determine later if I end up keeping him solo or letting him go back into the main tank if he gets bigger and gets healed. But this is really about filtration and being prepared for more tanks and more fish. As you can see here, I have multiple filtration sponges or pumps things going on in this tank. I've got a hang on the back with a sponge pre-filter. I've got a large Aqua Solutions sponge filter, and I also have an aqua bubbler that is full of lava rock and some filter material. And the reason, obviously I don't need this much filtration for one fish in one small tank, but the reason why I've done this is to be prepared for additional tanks that I'm setting up. So in this room, I currently have another tank here that's cycling with a sponge filter. I'm going to be breeding something in there. I just haven't decided 100% what I want to do yet, but I've got a couple ideas. I'll share that later. I've got another tank up top here. I'm doing a Fowler tank, so this will be my venture into marine. I've got a 55 that's going over there later. Sorry, it's dark. I've got the lights off in here, but I've got a 55 and another hospital tank over there. But anyway, back to this tank. So, in this tank I've got the multiple filtration options. And the reason why is if I decide to introduce fish to another one of these tanks and I don't have it cycled, like for example this tank up here doesn't have any filtration, it's full of water, but it's not cycled. There's prime in there, so it's dechlorinated, but that's it. So I don't have any beneficial bacteria to break down the ammonia and and nitrites, and that could obviously be very harmful to any fish. So if I were in a situation where I needed to add fish, within a day or two, if it's a customer that's wants to get rid of some fish, or somehow I'm given some fish, etc., I need to be able to house them. And what I can very easily do is take one of these filters that's running and put it in that tank. So for example, up top, if I needed to, I could take this hang on the back filter. So this hang on the back filter has a pre-filter. It's a Whisper 30, so it's not a big one, but I do have some, excuse me here, I've got a lot of bacteria growing in there. They actually took it from my sump from my other tank, and I have a sponge in there. So I have a large sponge, and then I have this other filter material there. So there's a lot of area for beneficial bacteria to be housed. So it's not just like a carbon filter, etc. So I know that one fish is not creating a large bioload, so there's not going to be a tremendous amount of bacteria. The bacteria that's on this media is just enough to basically take care of one fish at its waste and whatever leftover food is in there, which is not very much. But it is a little bit, and it's a good way to get started. Obviously, I couldn't take that filter and put it in that tank and add 5 goldfish or 5 African cichlids, because it's not going to be enough to handle that bioload, but it is a start. And then I can always seed the tank with some bottled bacteria to kind of get it going and build up from what I have already established. So that's kind of what I have for preparedness. This little bubbler here, obviously it's a very small filter, and I have that running so that I can throw that in a hospital tank. So a hospital tank obviously is a short term, or quarantine tank. When I run in, it's bare bottom and just, one or two fish that I might, separate with the divider. So that's adequate, especially if you're doing frequent water changes or medications, etc. That's fine to filter that tank as far as biological load is concerned. And then lastly, this little nylon sack is full of aragonite. I actually took that from the bottom of my African cichlid tank upstairs, so it's well established with bacteria, etc. So I threw that in here because I wanted to get that going, but also because of its buffering quality. So the substrate in here is aragonite, so this fish doesn't need any additional buffering qualities for the water here. But I do have that sock, so if I do, let's say, decide to put some of my multifasciatus in this tank, if I got extra shell dwellers, I can very easily take that sock of aragonite, put it by the filter in this tank, and that's going to help with buffering, as it's going to raise the pH because of the properties of the aragonite. So anyway, just a short clip. Didn't really want to show off this fish room yet, as it's not complete, and I've only got one fish in here, and I've got 5 tanks and another 55 coming, but exciting stuff to come. I'm excited about my pickup next week. I'm picking up a 55-gallon African cichlid tank, complete with all the equipment and the fish. A friend of mine, their office is shutting down, and they are letting me take their fish and equipment. So I will share more in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.